Hey guys, I'm here. Let's get technical. I love Wes Anderson. He just dropped the first trailer for his upcoming movie, Isle of Dogs, which comes out in 2018, and it just is another reminder of how simply phenomenal he is as a filmmaker. Why? Maybe because in his movies, every single shot is a beautiful work of art that makes me go, like, whoa, or maybe it's just his hair, but Wes Anderson really is a hallmark of our time. The first Wes Anderson film I watched was Moonrise Kingdom. I was like 10 at the time, but I honestly do remember something being special about that film. I remember sitting there being captivated by what I saw, which is a truly magical feeling. Wes Anderson has a very unique and noticeable style, and today I want to not only identify what techniques Wes Anderson uses in his films, but also explore why he uses them and why they work. Let's dive into why Wes Anderson films look so good. Because Wes is the best. I saw that in a YouTube comment section. It was too good not to put in. Let's begin. Wes Anderson is famous for his world-defining color palettes. Colors that immediately jump out include the yellows of Moonrise Kingdom, the blues and the red caps of The Life Aquatic, the dark greens, blues, and reds of Rushmore, the browns and reds of The Royal Tenenbaums, the blues and beiges of Darjeeling Limited, the reds and yellows of Fantastic Mr. Fox, and the pinks and purples of the Grand Budapest Hotel. In 2015, Von Vreeland wrote the phenomenal paper Color Theory and Social Structure in the Films of Wes Anderson. It's published in the Elon Journal of Undergraduate Research in Communications, and you can click the eye to read the full paper, but here is the summary. There's this theory in film called auteur theory, also known as auteurism. Alexandre Astruc, 1950s French filmmaker, was the first to practice this. He defined it as, get ready for me to butcher this French, as la caméra stylo, which basically means for the director to use the camera like an author would a pen, as a means of self-reflection. Wes Anderson himself is a big admirer of Francois Truffaut and Jean-Luc Godard, pioneers in this theory. Thus, it makes sense that, quote, Anderson writes and directs films that directly pertain to his experiences, thus utilizing color as an expression of society through his personal lens. While each movie does have its own distinct color palette, the two colors that are most popular throughout Wes Anderson's entire filmography are red and yellow. Vreeland argues that red represents the boyish dominance of fathers, looking to Steve Zissou, Royal Tenenbaum, and Herman Bloom as examples, and yellow represents optimism and peace, looking towards the Khaki Scouts, the sky, and Fantastic Mr. Fox, when the foxes are happiest, and Steve Zissou's submarine, one of the only things that brings him happiness until he finds the yellow sea creature he's been looking for as examples. Ultimately, Vreeland concludes, quote, Anderson offers unto viewers a childlike absorption into the all-too-adult bittersweetness of the world, neglecting reality and projecting fantasy. This notion directly correlates to the reasons why his darker screenplays are treated with brilliant color palettes and humoristic undertones. The use of color in his set design and his costuming is masterfully engineered to ingrain itself into the minds of an audience and establish a certain mood for a film. Anderson's auteur style hinges on his experiences as a child. Without disappointment in his own adolescence, he would never have been able to craft these extravagant stories. This is why color is so influential in Wes's films. They not only reflect the themes Wes wants to communicate in his art, but also reflect Wes himself. Let's move on to another one of Wes's notable techniques, framing. Quick definition, framing, when it comes to filmmaking, is the way the stuff in the shot is arranged. There's two notable framing strategies that Wes and his longtime director of photography, Robert Yeoman, employ. First, symmetry. There's an excellent Vimeo video looking at some of the shots where Wes uses symmetry, but finding symmetry in a Wes Anderson film is kind of like opening a book and trying to find words. If you've opened up a book before, then you know it's not that hard to find words in it. And if you haven't opened up a book before, would recommend checking them out. They're great, mate. Rate 8 out of 8. Anywho, Wes Anderson constantly uses symmetry when framing his shots. He's famous for it, and it just looks so good. So good! Why does it look so good? Our brains love symmetry. Alan Lightman, physicist and author, has written, quote, the answer to why we love symmetry must be partly psychological. I would claim that symmetry represents order, and we crave order in this strange universe we find ourselves in. The search for symmetry, and the emotional pleasure we derive when we find it, must help us make sense of the world around us, just as we find satisfaction in the repetition of seasons and the reliability of friendships. Symmetry is simplicity. Symmetry is elegance. The second framing strategy is the rule of thirds. Whenever he's not shooting symmetrically, Wes is likely shooting like this, utilizing something called the rule of thirds. Fairly self-explanatory, but basically the rule of thirds is when you divide the frame into thirds and position things accordingly. Get it? It's the rule of thirds, and you divide things into... Using those types of framing, Wes employs a variety of shots, like tracking shots, wide shots, slow motion shots, whips, and this, which some people think is a bird's eye view shot, but it's not. It's a POV, or point of view shot. There's a difference. Literally just look at the definitions. Sorry folks, this really salts my apples. It's important to note that these shots by themselves aren't particularly Wes Anderson-y. Wes Andersonian? Yeah, that sounds right. These shots aren't particularly Wes Andersonian. It's not like Wes Anderson was the first director ever to use wide shots, but these shots combined with his framing is what's unique. As for what inspired him to frame his shots like this, it's really his own personal taste. When asked about it in an interview with Cinema Blend, he said, quote, "That's really the photography that I like. And it's not even the photography I like, it's the photography I like to make. Lately I've been thinking a lot about the best analogy for it. To me, it's like a sort of handwriting. I've sort of developed my own handwriting, and with each movie I want to make a different setting or world for the story, but at the same time, as much as I feel like I'm doing something completely different in terms of the world, I don't want to force myself to change my handwriting." By the way, symmetry and the rule of thirds can be found all over the new Isle of Dogs trailer. Stop motion really is an ideal medium when it comes to framing your shots, because you truly have complete control over how everything is arranged. As a matter of fact, let's talk about that. Alex, aren't you supposed to be making a video? Shh, I'm watching the Isle of Dogs trailer! Oh no. Okay. While Alex watches the Isle of Dogs trailer for literally the 20th time, let's go to our friend Alex from PlayTheMind to tell us more about stop motion. While he's on, we'll think of a good joke relating to how both of our names are Alex.
Hey, Alex! You're talking about Wes Anderson, right? Well, let me tell you, that is one director who loves stop-motion animation. His 2009 feature film, Fantastic Mr. Fox, was his first stop-motion movie, and now, 9 years later, he's releasing yet another stop-motion film, Isle of Dogs. This video, the one you're watching right now, was shot in 29 frames per second. This means that 29 frames, 29 individual still images, are shown every second. What's mind-blowing is that these 29 still images are shown so quickly in succession, one after the other, that they give the illusion of motion to the viewer, which makes this a video. A lot of videos on YouTube are shot between 24 and 30 frames per second, but some movies like The Hobbit or live sports are shot in a higher frame rate, for instance 48 or 60 frames per second. However, Fantastic Mr. Fox was shot in, get this, 12 frames per second. Why such a low frame rate? Well, Wes Anderson really wanted the audience to notice and absorb the stop-motion medium. Clearly, Wes Anderson is a director who loves stop motion, as he elaborated in this interview.
Why did stop motion appeal to you as a way to make a film?
Well, I was always interested in stop motion. I just like the kind of handmade feeling, or that it actually is handmade. And I also always liked stop motion that has a lot of texture in it, where I think when it's texture, you sense that you're looking at miniatures, and there's something sort of magical about that to me.
Thanks, me. Get it? Yeah, no, I got it. It just wasn't that good. Oh, okay. If you want to learn more about movie soundtracks, check out the video we made over on Alex's channel. Click that eye! Knowing Wes Anderson's love for stop motion, it just makes me even more excited for Isle of Dogs. It is important to understand the people Wes Anderson usually works with. Adrien Brody is in 3 Wes Anderson films, so is Willem Dafoe, Jeff Goldblum, Angelica Houston, Harvey Keitel, Edward Norton, Tilda Swinton, and Luke Wilson. Jason Schwartzman is involved in 6 Wes Anderson films, so is Owen Wilson, Wes's college roommate and longtime friend, and Bill Murray is in 8, all of Wes Anderson's films except his very first, Bottle Rocket. But it's not just the people you see on screen. Robert Yauman is the director of photography of 6 Wes Anderson films, Alexandre Desplat is the music director of 4, Miliana Canonero is the costume designer for 3, and Adam Stockhausen is the production designer for 3. Wes talked about why he does this in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter. Quote, "I like having some continuity. I sort of have some unusual methods of working that have developed, you know, that we sort of stumbled into over the years that I like, and we all are kind of in sync with them. And, you know, I like having a reunion of a lot of cast members on each film. It's also nice to bring in some new voices, but there's something kind of more free about having friends on a movie together. Not to mention, when filming, all of the actors live together, because Wes likes to create a sense of community between everyone in the cast in order to create more of a bond between the actors so the scenes seem more real, and it definitely does come across. You know, I've always loved Wes Anderson, and researching, writing, and making this video just made me appreciate and respect his genius so much more. If you listen to Wes in interviews, and try, to the best of your ability, to get a sense of what he's like, you'll see that he approaches everything with a special childlike fascination and imagination. No wonder his films appealed to 10-year-old me, and still amaze me to this day. Here's to Isle of Dogs, and many more. Thanks for watching, DFTBA, and explore on. Huge thank you to Mono for sponsoring this episode. I seriously love their backpacks, you guys. They are super nice. They're made out of 100% authentic American cattle hide leather, and I use them to carry my computer around all the time. Hey, look, a visual. If you want a seriously nice backpack, I strongly recommend you click the link at the top of the description, check it out, and use the code Technicality for 10% off. That's Technicality for 10% off this amazing backpack. I seriously do love this. Check it out. Thanks. I do have another Q&A video coming up soon, so if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Click on screen right now to check out Play the Mind and the video we made over there. Subscribe, watch more. Thank you to patrons Dave, Juice, Kevin, Nick, Schwabe, and Ryan. See you guys next time.